Hello. I wanted to talk a little bit about what it's like to solo travel around in Mexico. I realize when I'm saying around that it's actually a bit of an over exaggeration. I haven't been that much around. I have been spending my time mainly in the district of Oaxaca. I started my trip with 1 week in Mexico City, Ciudad de Mexico, and then I traveled to Puerto Escondido, which is on the Pacific coast in the district of Oaxaca. And then I spent 4 weeks in Puerto Escondido and close to 1 week in Mazunte, which is a little village close to Puerto Escondido. And then I headed to Oaxaca de Juaréz, which is kind of the capital. Well, not kind of, it is the capital of the district of Oaxaca. And it was a 30-minute flight from Puerto Escondido. Although getting here by car, if you're taking the colectivo, which is like a bus situation or a little minibus, then that takes actually about 7 to 8 hours because you're traveling you have to cross like mountains. And I haven't done this, so I just heard that it's like a really svingete in a region. What is that in? Well, very curvy road, which for lots of people provokes a lot of car sickness. And I've heard some puking stories. So I just knew that was not for me. So I booked a ticket for this mini plane that takes you from Puerto Escondido to Oaxaca. And it's, I think, a 12-passenger plane. And it was beautiful. So since then, the last 4 weeks, I've been in Oaxaca de Juaréz. And I was actually only planning to stay here for a week. But then I arrived and I was immediately in love with the city. It's so beautiful. It has no tall buildings, which makes it very easy to see the mountains surrounding the city. And it has a very, very lovely climate, which for me personally just suits me better. I know that a lot of people love the tropical climate, which is by the coast in Puerto Escondido. But for me, the climate here in the city, which then is on a higher alteration, is that how to say it? No, that's not how you say it. Higher altitude. It's based higher in the mountains, so it's also colder, and it reminds me of like a constant Norwegian summer. It's just so lovely, and my body prefers this way more, so I feel a bit more energized. And it's just so beautiful here and so many colors. I never seen such a colorful city. The buildings are painted in all these different colors, like any color you can imagine. And it's so gorgeous and inspiring. It's also a very creative city with a lot of galleries, lots of art. And it's also known to have the best food, well, some of the best food in Mexico. So they're famous for Chapulines, which is like tiny grasshoppers. Almost everyone I talk to, except one person, loves the Chapulines. I honestly really tried to eat them, but I had this very physical reaction where I just started sweating and I got all red in my face. I could just tell that my pulse was increasing. I had actually like a really strong stress response. So I was able to put it in my mouth, and then I just had to spit it out again. I couldn't. And there was actually a little crowd surrounding me and cheering for me, but I still couldn't do it. So this was actually at Doña Vale's place. Doña Vale is a woman that's a little famous, actually. She's a bit of a local hero because she was included in the Netflix TV series Street Food in Latin America, and there's an episode on there from Oaxaca, and she is on there with her wonderful homemade salsa and her memelas, which has become one of my favorite foods here. Yeah, now it's been a few weeks here in the city, and I'm contemplating where to go next or whether to stay even a bit longer. To be honest, I'm living from week to week. I have a few other locations on my mind that I hear really good things about. So we'll see where the road take me. So, solo traveling life. It's a very trendy concept these days, no? Solo traveling. I've seen that it's kind of trending. And when I say that word, I kind of picture these images of like a very trendy woman or man was just like going from place to place, doing like really, really crazy adventurous stuff, visiting all the places, doing all the things. And to be honest, my trip so far hasn't really been like that. And maybe that's also a bit of reflection of who I am as a person. I like to take things quite chill. I need a lot of downtime and relaxation time. If I find some place that I really like, I just want to settle in for a while. I have been needing a lot of rest. I've also felt very creative and inspired since I came to Mexico, which is an amazing feeling. So that has led me to take a lot of time to actually be a lot by myself, to create, and also to do more of my sessions, which I offer as a part of my work. And that has been also so amazing. So, well, of course, I've also done some touristy things, but to be honest, very little. I have been on one tour, which was like a dolphin boat excursion. And that was cool. It was really cool. The most fun part was when we saved a turtle from drowning because of plastic. And the boat driver jumped into the water and saved him. That was, well, saved the turtle, obviously. That was really beautiful to watch. Apart from that, I haven't been really doing a lot of touristy things except just going to the beach, swimming, taking some surfing lessons in Puerto Escondido. I got to know a handful of nice people. Did some things that I'm not going to talk about here. Well, it's nothing too crazy, don't worry. It's all good and safe. I might delete this. Yeah, and then here in the city, I just been loving walking around in the city, just taking in all the beauty, trying foods. Been doing some Spanish lessons. I got to dance some salsa, which is one of my big passions that I've been practicing back home in Norway, and it's been fun to do it here. And apart from that, I'm just really, really chill. I would like to visit more of the mountains and nature. I'm starting to feel a big craving towards that, so that is something that I will want to do more of if I decide to stay for longer time in Mexico. So solo traveling for me means like a decent amount of alone time and relaxation, a bit of introvertedness, and also it means just chatting with people in all kinds of situations, which is I'm not a complete introvert. I'm also quite extroverted when I'm inspired to. So I also love just chatting to people that are working in my coffee shops in my neighborhood, or a random person in the park, meeting up with people that I meet maybe in like an online forum, which are like-minded people. And I will say it's mostly a good balance. I am living in an Airbnb currently where I really feel quite alone sometimes, so I think it would be good for me to live in a situation where I'm more surrounded with people, because solo traveling for sure can bring up loneliness, and that's also why I've been choosing to start to speak a bit on the topic of loneliness in in the work that I do, because I think it's so important. But that's for another episode. So to wrap this up, I want to answer something that I know a lot of people are asking and wanting to know, and that I myself was very curious about before coming to Mexico, and that is safety. So if you look up Mexico online, and if you look into, for example, travel recommendations from the government of the United States of America, then it's like, oh, it's a red country, it's very dangerous, be careful. If you're searching on Netflix for Mexico, there will come up tons of movies about drugs and narco. Yes, there is obviously things happening in Mexico. Yes, there is a culture for certain things. There is definitely criminality. I don't know much about this topic, so it's not for me to speak on. I just know it's there. I also know that the places I have been so far has been such a great experience. I have at no point been in any unsafe situation. Of course, I am being mindful, for example, by choosing to live in neighborhoods that are recommended for its safety. And I also know that there are other parts, for example, in Mexico City, there are parts of the city where it's a good idea to not live alone as a solo traveling European woman. And then, as in any big city, be mindful. Unfortunately, that's just how it is, especially as a woman. Be mindful of not going home alone late at night. If you have been drinking alcohol, if that's your thing, then be careful. Order an Uber instead of hailing a random taxi. Take your measurements. But apart from that, I must say that I feel so safe here. I feel like people are so sweet and kind and helpful. Yes, you don't want to walk around and flaunt your newest iPhone like dangling from your hand in a crowded market. Yes, there is a lot of poverty, and a lot of people here are really in a challenging financial situation. So be mindful and also be respectful. There's no need to maybe put on like that kind of most expensive shit if you're going to the more poor areas. Be mindful. But apart from that, I will say that it's been easy. It's been good. And if you are considering coming to Mexico, then I absolutely will say from my heart that it's a beautiful country. It's beautiful people. You will meet other people that are also traveling. Don't let rumors of criminality ever stop you from coming to Mexico. So that is what I wanted to share for now. And if you have questions, if there are topics that you would like me to talk about, please just comment in the comment section, and I would be happy to create more videos about this topic. Bye, thanks for listening. If you want to support my work and hear and see more of these videos and episodes, please hit subscribe button